Interesting times, isn't it, with the BBC? They're celebrating 100 years on screen, and very nice to be able to celebrate that. You know, we've been looking back at a lot of their programmes that they've made over the decades, and also the things that they've reported on. So many things that have shaped our 100-year history. Let's not forget, of course, possibly their crowning glory was none other than the televising of the 1953 coronation of our late monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. That really was groundbreaking. As we've told you many times here on the show, that was all really instigated by the late Duke of Edinburgh. He saw the future. He knew that people wanted to be able to touch out, reach and see behind the curtain, as he called it. Fascinating to think that he was able to push that through when so many people were against the idea, and we have him to thank for such a wonderful record. Interesting in this year of 100 years of the BBC that they want to keep flagging up the programmes that they're so rightly proud about. But as ever, it's the ones really that the people make popular that they're kind of stunned by the fact that they're simply not repeated on the mainstream channels like BBC One, BBC Two and BBC Four, seemingly because they don't fit in with the regime right now. Apparently the BBC are frightened to offend. The programmes that have not been highlighted by the BBC as they celebrate 100 years but proved incredibly popular with the public are the hit comedies Are You Being Served? Do you remember that one? And of course the wartime comedy It Ain't Half Hot Mum. But it doesn't really just stop with sitcoms, you see. Greats like Dick Emery are overlooked, while the endless repeats of another comic duo genius, Morecambe and Wise, just come around and around. Now, of course, the British public over here have paid for these programmes, let's not forget. They instigated the funding of these way back when they first started out. Now, according to the BBC, it's simply that they don't have enough space or time. Interesting, isn't it? You look at the programming that they decide that they wish to plug. In fact, you know, other hit shows like Hello Hello can be picked up on other satellite channels and endlessly repeated. But over on the BBC, where the British public do pay for that programming, it appears that programmes like Are You Being Served, It Ain't Half Hot Mum, Dick Emery and numerous others that we've loved over the generations simply now have no place in the history of the BBC. I was lucky enough to meet Nick Emery, the son of the late comedian Dick Emery. A fabulous guy, very much like his father, could do so many wonderful impressions, and he pointed out to me that he was just stunned that these programmes were never repeated. According to him though, they don't fit the PC mantra right now, and of course the BBC are frightened to offend many different people, as one can understand. We live in different times. But as they're also putting out warnings for similar things, either it be on children's programming, etc., why can they simply not do the same for that? Vast majority of people that have paid for these programmes would simply love to see them again in the comfort of their own homes, but more importantly, repeated on a channel that they really paid for the first time around. As ever, this story is developing, and it'd be interesting to know if the BBC in their 100th year will relent and show exactly what the people want, allegedly, on the People's Channel. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.